Humanity can still change the outcome and dramatically lessen the hard lessons. It would require almost the entire population of the world working together by not working together. Let me explain. The system that has enslaved you, the New World Order, fears one thing above everything else. They fear that their slaves will wake up and realize that they are slaves. They fear losing their power and losing their profit. We all have the ability to take both away without a violent revolution. We the people have the power. It's called non-participation. If everyone decided to go on strike, not go to work, all at the same time, industry and commerce would grind to a halt. Don't buy any gas or petrol. Don't buy anything for 2, even 4 weeks. Wealthier people look after the poorer people with food and donations. The system would collapse. With some prior planning, budgeting and coordination, this could easily be managed. Once we have their attention, then we can demand changes. Forgive all debt. Drastically reduce the power of corporations. Hold politicians accountable for their promises. If they renege without a good reason, they get fired. Abolish political parties. Candidates must get voted in on their own merits and views. Limit the amount of campaign spending, and all candidates get equal time and money. Candidates and politicians must wear the logos of the companies that fund their campaign on their shirts and jackets. Ban corporate lobbyists. Abolish the Federal Reserve and all central banks and fractional reserve lending practices. Demand equal wages and livable minimum wages. The corporations that depend on high-quality university graduates must pay for their tuition. That is how you make higher education free for all that deserve to go to higher education but can't afford it. Close all tax loopholes. If companies like Apple, Google and IBM do not pay taxes in the countries they operate in, then they are banned from operating there. Use the tax from the companies to fund the health system and free medical for all that need it. Reduce defence spending to no more than 5% of a nation's GDP. If all countries do this, there can be no more threat from outside. The money you save can go on education, roads and infrastructure. All workers pay a set 5% of their earnings per year to the government in tax, and a further 5% toward their own retirement fund. That is it. No matter how much you earn and how big your salary is, just 5%. That is all the tax anyone will ever pay. No sales tax, no property tax, no import, no export, none. You can only buy land or real estate if you are a citizen of that country. If you are not a citizen, you must lease only and renew every 5 years. If you pay your house off, you never can be evicted unless you get the current value plus half. Look, these demands were literally off the top of my head. It's up to the people to create their own demands. This is just an example. But before you say, hey, this is socialism or this is communism, or how can we pay for everything when there are no massive taxes and banks and corporations? It's simple. In the US, before 1913, no one paid income tax. And before 1900, there were very few chartered corporations, and they were tightly restricted in what they could do. But it was sneaky corporate lawyers and corrupt federal judges that slowly gave them more and more power. Before 1900, people in the US thrived. It was the one place where you could live, and if you worked hard and saved, you could buy a house, have a family, then retire in a comfortable, dignified way. It was called the American Dream. That dream has been stolen from you. Before income tax and corporations, people worked about a 40-hour week. They saved money, they ate well, they owned a home and retired in comfort. After income tax and corporations were forced onto the people, people now work 2 jobs, 60 plus hours per week. They can't save any money. Most people rent, and most people are now living on food stamps. I mean, you tell me, which system is better? One family that pushed to give corporations more power and introduce the Federal Reserve and income tax was the Rockefellers. They are just one of your owners. In my second book, I name all of them. Do yourself a favour, watch the corporation documentary. It's called The Corporation. And find out how money is a scam. I cover this in my second book as well, but there are many documentaries around all about it. Even under the simple system I suggest, imagine how much better people's lives would be everywhere. It really is that simple. It would take people working together in love and trust. And remember, love holds hands with trust. Pick a date, spread the word, and stick to the plan. Problem solved. A united humanity vibrating in the love frequency would eliminate the lessons of Earth Changes. They would still happen, but the whole planet and everyone on it would ascend and therefore not be affected. Look, unfortunately there are too many people that would just not join in, I think. They have a warped sense of loyalty to their slave masters. They are locked into the fear vibration. Only in death will they realise their failure. So, I think that's why we need a reboot as such. Don't mistake this information as fear-mongering, because it's not. If you were at a beach and you saw a shark attack and kill someone, would you feel compelled to warn the other people? Would you try and stop people entering the water? Would you consider warning people about the shark as fear-mongering? I know many people will ignore this message and embrace their fear and even ridicule it instead. Look, that's okay, I don't mind. This message is just for those that have ears to hear and eyes to see. This 1 minute 30 section of my 30-minute presentation got this whole video banned and deleted by YouTube. A New World Order company of greedy, hateful deniers of truth called Totem Social Advisory and Studio made a false complaint against me which had no grounds whatsoever. These are the people destroying YouTube who want to censor what you get to see. Governments can't get away with it, but private, unelected corporations can. It is now corporate lawyers, the absolute bottom feeders of the world, that dictate what is acceptable for your viewing. On a bright note, it just proves I got a little bit too close to the truth for them to allow it. Please continue watching the rest of the video. Thank you. Many people in internet land are saying that the pole shift in Nibiru will happen around September 2017. This date, I found out, is derived from the Bible's book of Revelations. They have shoehorned the Nibiru narrative into the Bible story. I do not put any faith in the Bible verses they're referring to because there is nothing in the Bible that has anything to say about Nibiru. Armageddon, according to the book of Revelation, is the site of gathering of armies for a battle during the end times, variously interpreted as either a literal or symbolic location. The term is also used in a generic sense to refer to any end time or world scenario. The word Armageddon appears only once in the Greek Testament in Revelation 16:16. The word is translated to Greek from Hebrew Har-Megiddo, meaning a mountain or range of hills. This is often thought to be the location of the ancient fortress city of Megiddo. Megiddo was the location of various ancient battles, including one in the 15th century BC and one in 609 BC. Modern Megiddo is a town approximately 25 miles or 40 kilometres west-southwest of the southern tip of the Sea of Galilee in the Kishon River area in Israel. According to the pre-millennial Christian interpretation, Jesus will return to earth and defeat the Antichrist, or the beast, in the Battle of Armageddon. Then Satan will be put into the bottomless pit or abyss for 1,000 years, known as the millennium. After being released from the abyss, Satan will gather Gog and Magog, whoever they are, from the four corners of the earth. They will encamp surrounding the holy ones and the beloved city, which means Jerusalem. Fire will come down from God out of heaven and devour Gog and Magog. The devil, death, hell, and those not found written in the book of life are then thrown into Gehenna, the lake of burning and brimstone. So, you see, there's no mention of Nibiru, pole shifts, or earth changes in Revelations. The Bible code is also a myth, but I won't get into that now. The men that wrote Revelation honestly thought that the end times battle would happen in their own lifetime in a village or near a village called Megiddo. Therefore, any date predictions for the return of Nibiru that are based on the Bible are essentially nonsense, and I just ignore them. While I'm on the subject of Christian beliefs, the rapture was invented by John Nelson Darby in 830 CE. Before it popped into John Darby's head, no one had ever heard of a secret rapture doctrine. In fact, prior to 1830, no church taught it in their creed, catechism, or statement of faith. It does not appear anywhere in the Bible or in any other ancient document. It is a complete fabrication, and you would do well to ignore it. There will be no rapture or no second coming of Jesus anytime soon, that much I can guarantee. I am now basing all my predictions on science and observation. Many people have been taking pictures and video footage of Nibiru. Based on the size it is appearing and based on the amount of earth changes happening right now, I think the asteroids could start falling around December 2016. By January 2017, you'll be able to see Nibiru with the naked eye. By late January to early mid-February, the pole shift will occur. I cannot be any more exact than that at the moment. When I can afford it, I plan to buy a special filter for my camera that will allow me to take video footage of the rising and setting sun. Nibiru is currently behind the sun where I am, so I need a filter to see it. Any footage I get, I'm going to upload it, and if I see nothing, I will still report on that. Do not expect your government to come out and tell everyone about Nibiru until they can't hide it any longer. I actually get why they're keeping it quiet. Imagine the panic, rioting and anarchy there would be if people were told it is the end of civilization as they know it. People would no longer go to work, they would be murdering each other, suiciding, and God knows what else. Then imagine if the whole population on the coast tried to move inland. So for example, the entire population of New York, which is about 8.4 million in 2013, moving inland to Kansas. Kansas does not have the infrastructure, the food, the shelter, the water, or even the toilets to handle that many people. Pretty soon it would collapse into anarchy. For once, I actually agree with the governments about keeping it all quiet. I mean, there's people like me and others telling people, be alert, be aware, but it's only the people that are meant to hear it are going to hear it, so we're not going to create any mass panic, trust me. Just on a final note, I may be completely wrong. I have to admit that, okay? I may be. But this is my truth right here and right now, based on overwhelming evidence I have studied, particularly in the last 2 months of April and May 2016. It may change as more data comes in, and if so, I will adjust my plans accordingly. You should decide for yourself what plans, if any, you want to take. I hope this information has been helpful, and remember, accept it in love, with the wise mind. Do not give in to fear. Fear is for those that ignored the signs and got caught unprepared. Love and light. Still not convinced? Not sure what all the fuss is about? Or maybe you think this Nibiru stuff is all a bunch of male bovine excrement. Well, stick around for another 12 minutes or so and I will show you some of the most compelling evidence I have come across so far. Enjoy.